Hey, thanks for checking out my video with Tangled CosmNT. His real name is Ness, and he's an NFT artist who designed an interplanetary battle card game for the IBC. This is actually his second project on Omniflix, and the mint will be April 2022. He describes this game as a one-on-one battle game using a deck of 10 cards each player. There will be dozens of different art designs for the cards. You could see one on this slide to the right. And the battle cards will have attack points, defense points. There will also be utility cards that add twists into the game. Ness goes on to explain how there will be incentives to play this game. Just like his first project, the art is dedicated to various IBC themes. So enjoy this video. If you like my content, please like it, share it. You could subscribe. And of course, follow me on Twitter at CosmosDeFi is my handle. Thank you.
I don't know why this is happening. Oh, it's probably because you were in the chat first. Anyway, this is interesting. All right, so I've got Ness here, aka Tangled CosmNT on Twitter, and Ness is an NFT creator. You've got one collection already on Omniflix called Cosmic Cats, which we'll look at. That's a narrative-based NFT collection that is kind of a tribute to the Cosmos ecosystem, different aspects of the Cosmos ecosystem. Now you've got a completely different collection coming out also on Omniflix. That is a trading card game. You introduced the project.
Yeah, thanks very much for that. Yeah, as you mentioned, phase one was a narrative-based NFT collection, very niche, kind of my tribute, as you said, to the Cosmos ecosystem and the developments and the progress over 2021 and 2022. So that launched in February on Omniflix, and
we'll take a look at those at the end of the video as well. But yeah, I definitely want to hear about this phase two. Sorry to interrupt.
Yep. No, that's fine. So I think there was, moderate, reasonably good success around that. There's a lot of people that, supported the project phase one, and they were very interested in the universe that was created. And part of me thought, just to give back again, back to the community and try to do something that will provide value for them in supporting the project. I thought, look, how about implementing one of the projects that I had in mind longer term? So, I've always wanted to do a trading card game. I've always wanted to do something because of my background. I'm in esports. I'm in kind of geek culture, planning events and, sci-fi and fantasy. And there's a lot of those elements kind of sloshing around in my head. And I've always loved the notion of trading card games. And I thought, why don't I just, pivot that idea and utilize the universe that's been created and turn that into a trading card game, right? So that's basically underpinning this entire phase two is the idea of, hey, let's extrapolate the universe. Let's give the community that's interested in it like a more immersion and like a deeper platform to kind of explore it.
You're going to kind of reward your phase one holders as well. I'm going to share the tweet announcing an airdrop for the phase one. You got 23 holders, right? And you'll be airdropping. This was the original design. You have since modified this a little bit. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. So the original design I purchased off an artist on Fiverr, and I asked them, give me a template that I can work with for a trading card game. And after a bit of testing, I'd basically finished the artwork. It was 80% done. I'd done the collection, and then I'd done a bit of research online over the last couple of weeks and realized that it looks like a lot of popular trading card games, that baseline template. And I didn't want that. And I didn't want people to think I just jumped on an existing thing and copied it. So it was back to the drawing board, and the last week, night and day, has been kind of fine-tuning a unique but still kind of attractive trading card game format And you know, I've given you a couple of the final draft samples. So yeah, a lot of that tweaking, a lot of fixing, and a lot of work in the background actually.
Before you sent me a couple of the prototypes, let's say, of the new version. Can you go over a little bit of the game itself, how it's gonna work?
Yeah. So without getting into too much granularity, I think the premise of this game is a 1v1 dueling type game. So it's one player versus another. It's a 10 card stack. So anyone with the 10 cards can play against each other. And there are a number of different formats that I'm proposing to introduce to the community. But the classic format or the standard format that I intend to roll out is a classic battle format, which is you start off with 10 cards. Each player will roll out it's called the Airdrop phase, which is you roll out 3 of your 10 card deck. And that will give you a baseline statistic lifeline. So you'll have baseline stats after the airdrop phase. And what happens then is the person who is lower or weaker in the sense of the airdrop phase begins the round. Right? So you have a 10 card deck. You roll out 3 cards to establish your baselines. And the person or the player that is weaker starts. And then after that, each round is literally rolling down or laying down 1 card at a time in alternation.
All right, so I'm going to switch to the newer cards, and we didn't talk about this. How many different types of the standard attack defense cards will there be?
So in terms of the artwork, there's going to be about 50 to 60 unique pieces of art, right? But you extrapolate that so that there are your baseline deck cards. And so the primary battle cards, or the primary, the standard cards, if you will, where you use to build your defense points and use your attack points, there will be probably between 500 to 600 of those. And so, you know, they form the majority of the collection.
So this is what you gave me here. These are the standard cards.
So they're in final draft, but the one that you're actually looking at the moment is a intended gold card, which is, again, we haven't really spoken about it, but though there are going to be 5 very limited edition gold cards that are OP in terms of gaming metrics, so the attributes are going to be just overpowered, and I want to auction these off. It'll be time limited auction, and I want to kind of hark back and kind of throw back to OmniFlix, which that's the platform this NFT collection is going to be on. I want to kind of represent the Flix token drop. So I don't know exactly when that's all happening, but I'm aiming for a end of April launch for this collection, and I'm just hoping that it lines up with that. So if in the end, if it doesn't, if the Flix drop doesn't happen, or if Flix hasn't been launched and they haven't completed their LBP, I'll probably revert back to like OSMO or Atom. But you know, the plan is I have 5 very rare gold edition OP cards that I'm still going to edit. I'm still going to add special effects, animation, and a whole range of things that I'll auction off, and that's mainly as part of that whole Flix drop process.
Got it. And this one is similar to the first one in terms of function, or is this one of those special ones that you were talking about?
Yeah, so I think you've got the King of Cosmos as well. So this is the first time I've shown anyone, and these two. So the one that you saw.
Was I supposed to show these or no?
No, that's fine. That's fine. People have a bit of a preview. It's not entirely finished anyway. So, but yeah, so that's these cards. I think the next card may be a utility card, but the very first card that you had on the screen, that's a basic standard battle card.
That was this one. Okay, got it.
And you might, if you read it, you might I don't know if it's readable from your perspective, but that's called the big game, and it relates to a whale that's kind of breached, the structures, and it's doing a bit too much damage, and we've got to call it quits. So I don't know if you can throw that back to a reference that's going on right now, but as you can see, these aren't cards that are just completely isolated from the ecosystem, right?
No, and I think that's a common vein with the phase one as well. How you gave tribute to different elements of the Cosmos ecosystem, and yes, this is a reference to something. It seems like these are very current. These
Yeah, they're all very current and they're real, right? They're based in reality. They are interpreted again through a lens of an abstract universe, but they are, if you pay attention, it's everything Cosmos. All of this is all interlinked, interweaved within this environment.
I'm surprised you didn't just make attack 16, defense 16. let's go to the next one. Omni resilience.
Yep. So that, I think you'll see that has utility points there.
Correct. So there's no attack, no defense. The majority of the cards are attack defense cards. This is one of those utility cards, and you were explaining these to me before we started recording. These just add a twist of randomness into the each battle.
Exactly. So if everyone just got the most powerful cards, then the game would be over, right?
Correct. Yeah.
But what I've done, and I'm still trying to balance out exactly how, like from a gaming mechanics perspective, but what I'm thinking is you have a 10-card deck with 7 standard cards or 8 standard cards, and you are limited to 2 utility cards, right? So it's not all craziness, but there's just enough in there.
And are people allowed to put their deck in a specific order, or do they just pick their 10 cards and it gets randomized?
So the classic format of the game that I'm hoping people will take up and play is called it is your classic standard battle, which relies on the players using a random name or a random card generator app, right? So you'll go on a website and you basically list out all your cards, just the names, and then you'll click when it's your go, and it'll pick a card. And then you'll use that for your next round and delete it from the random name generator right? So that gives not only randomness to the play, it also doesn't allow you to be strategic in how you're going to play. But there's also a further iteration, which is the strategic format, which is you can play and roll out exactly what you want.
Since this is, one player versus one player, this kind of lends itself to tournaments, right? You could do a 16-person tournament, I'm sure. You could probably do much bigger tournaments. And I think something like this would be really good for, you got a bunch of active Discord members. Hey, Friday night, if you're in this time zone, let's do a tournament. It could be community organized. It could be something that you set up for your, maybe a special group of Discord members, giving away things, or just having the maybe rankings or something like that. Have you thought about that?
Yeah, so part of me I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, and even though I've put tons and tons of work into it, even though I've put months and months of time and effort, I don't know if the community will receive this well. Like, I don't know if they'll look at it and go, this is absolute trash of a game and you should have never tried to make your own card game. But so I think what I've done is, after the launch and after a few of the cards start selling, I'm going to launch a campaign called, I haven't finalized the names, but there's going to be 2 campaigns, possibly 3. One of them is called Brute Force Campaign, which in the first month, everyone can collect their cards, trade their cards, have a look at them, enjoy them, maybe play a few games with other owners. But ultimately, at the end of the 30-day campaign, I'm going to reward the highest overall 10-deck card stack with at least 250 Australian dollars worth of IBC token. So that's the Brute Force challenge, which is do your thing, gather your cards, play it, have a feel, but then generate your perfect 10 card stack, highest stats. And if you're the king of the hill, you win the brute force challenge, and you literally just tag me and show me that you own the cards, and you'll get 250 Australian dollars worth of IBC token. And the second challenge that I want to do is called the public display challenge, which is your favorite card of your entire deck, just display it, shill it, retweet it, promote it, show off your card, and the person with the most retweets and likes will also get 250 worth of IBC tokens. So I think I'm not going too far ahead, but I'm also trying to promote the fact that, hey, it's out, use it, have a feel, show it off, and we'll go from there.
Well, I consider myself a card player. I always played poker, internet poker. I like
Who
live.
doesn't play poker?
Listen, the pandemic put a damper on my poker playing, maybe permanently, I don't know. But I feel like card games are lacking. I feel like every Discord should have a channel for some kind of card game. I feel like it's the easiest thing. It transcends languages, right? People just can play, and the way you have it set up, we were talking before, there's even room for community members to set up their own little house rules with the cards that you've made, have their own version of the games.
And look, that's the dream, right? That's the dream, is you release this out in the ecosystem, you give a bunch of baseline parameters and go for gold. And the most amazing thing for me is seeing a community build around it and start developing their own stuff, maybe doing their own artwork. And that would be a dream. That's an artist's dream, right? It's like people appreciating and developing and making derivatives of what you've done. It's like the most amazing form of flattery, right? It's like,
absolutely.
But yeah, that's amazing. That would be a dream, and I hope that happens. But again, I'm taking baby steps and I'm doing the best I can and just seeing what happens.
Well, there's something else you told me. I don't know if I am supposed to mention it, but most of the cards will be cards like this where they're static, as you described them. But you also have plans for animated cards, so long as it can be supported on the platform.
Yeah. So the broad brush categories are your battle cards, which is the majority. Then you have your utility cards, and then you have your gold cards, which we briefly spoke about, right?
Right.
But there's also another category which I'm throwing in there, just in the different packs, in the different cards, which your standard card will be modified, and I'll be adding SFX to it, animation to it, a little bit of a glisten metallic effect, and that's going to be your cosmic edition. All right, so it might have the same baseline artwork, but it's going to have a different sheen to it, like you have in trading card games that have special edition, sparkly sheens. But also, it's not only a nicer look and feel, it's also going to double your stats. So if you have a cosmic standard battle card that just happens to be in the deck that you buy, that's double stats.
All right. Well, you're aiming for end of April, right? And I guess it depends a little bit on Omniflix. It's still a really new platform, but you are one of the original artists on Omniflix. So you're already on your second collection, and the collection is completely different from the first one. So I hope you. Yeah. I wish you the best of luck with this mint.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me on your show. It's always great to talk to you, mate. And look, I'll start sharing everything, and keep up the good work. I've been watching all your other interviews as well, and you go into deep dives sometimes, man. They're really good.
Oh, well, I appreciate it. And anyone that sticks around to the end, I'm going to show some clips of our first interview of the original collection, the Cosmic Cats.
Thanks, guys.
Something like Lightning Network, I don't think that's priced in, not even 10%, right? And you could even look at, you could look at Cosmos, the Atom token, the market cap, and you're like, how is Dogecoin beating Atom in market cap? It's just IBC, like you said, it's more activity right now. It's not people just rushing in like, oh, this is a price pump or something like that. That's not going to last. This is as they do these airdrops, most people, when they see what's really going on here, like I could swap tokens back and forth in a matter of seconds. I could get into any other of the blockchains using OSMO, or I could take UST off of an exchange, right? And people will stick around because this is so much better than what's out there. Now the NFTs look like they've jumped like 6 or 7 levels, and
overnight.
Just upon launch, it's totally usable, and there's some stuff that you just don't see on the other chains that have they've had NFTs for a year or 3 years. So.
Yeah. And even the more mature marketplaces like OpenSea, and then you have like a $200 million kind of exploit happens over the weekend, and it's just things like that. Just how do you expect mainstream adoption to occur when people are losing $200 billion on chain? It's just crazy.
Yeah, you're right. Well, I got 2 of your NFTs queued up here. And you describe these as narrative based, right? They're telling a story. You mind giving your take on what you've got here? This is what number is this? This is number 14 out of 25. Are these numbered in any special way, or just as
so
you
the collection itself is made up of different components. So there is a meta film component, which is almost like your main short film category. And then you have your noir component, which is almost like a dark take on what's happening in the ecosystem. And then you have the abstract, which is kind of delving into all of the crazy stuff that happens on automated money makers or superfluid or secret network. It's like all this crazy stuff happening underneath the surface that we don't see.
Mm-hmm.
And then it finalizes with fusion and a few other like montage or collage based NFTs.
Got it. This one I thought was cool. This one to me looks like could be like the trailer for like a Transformers or an Avengers movie.
Yeah.
So and the sound is muted, but there is sound, and you could see when you made this, what were you thinking? Just what were you trying to get across here?
Yeah. So on my Twitter, there's actually an entire mega thread describing the entire lore. So if people want to get into the whole story, there's an entire backstory, right? Every single NFT plays a part. So the more you look into the collection, the more you can dive in and kind of sequence it together. So this unknown entity, number 14, this relates to a point in time following the expansion of the cosmos. So what happened was Stargate occurred, IBC shipped, and you see this expansion of activity. And like in the context of the universe, it's the expansion of civilizations, right? There's like new planets, people are exploring, people are doing new things. There's new economic trade routes, but then all of a sudden, there's also negative energy, right? There's also flooding, there's also scamming. There's a lot of negative stuff entering into the ecosystem. So this is what this depicts, is all of the negativity, the scamming, the flooding personified into this being called the anti-cosmos, coming in and destroying what the cosmos is making.
And I got
So
another
that's what that's about.
Oh, and the mega thread that you mentioned, I'll link that in the description if you want to send that over to me. Is there any place where you've just put all these stories in one place other than Twitter, or the Twitter account is where to go?
So the Knots Arts, the Knots NFT Discord has a specific Cosmic Cats channel that I regularly update, but otherwise it's all on my Twitter.
All right, I'll definitely send people there. And then we've got this one here.
Yep. So what do you think? You tell me. You see that. What do you think? What does it tell you?
To me, this looks like shades of Star Wars here. This looks like the Death Star to me. But let's see. I mean, I see the comet, right? So something with stargaze, maybe. I don't know.
Yep. So if you see the description, it says planetary systems are vetted by the consensus cat. So can you see that? It's the metadata.
Let me see here. Yep.
So it says planetary systems are vetted by the consensus cat, the collective consciousness of mystic cats across the universe. It appears an upcoming planet is not quite the entity it seems. /. So basically, that's you know where I'm going with this.
For the validators that are being bad.
Yeah. Exactly. Right? It's like see the natural organism, the natural planets, so they're normal, right? They're doing their thing. But then there's one that's coming up that's not quite right. And the cosmic cat kind of can see it, consensus cat.
Yeah, the cat definitely looks like it's an outside observer peering in and caught someone in the act. Someone went down for a little too long, I think.
Yeah.
Now this is cool, and I did turn the sound off, but I'll people will be able to preview these on Omniflix. There's a whole bunch up there. Are all 50 on Omniflix, or only the ones that are being sold?
All 50 are on there. I
All 50
minted
are there.
all of them at the same time. Yep.
That's right. Well, thanks a lot, man. I really appreciate your time going through your unique project, MP4 NFTs. It's pretty cool.
Thank you very much. Thanks for your time.
You got it.